The studio lights burn white-hot above Stage 1 at NBC Burbank. It's October 23, 1979, and the audience is packed shoulder to shoulder, dressed in their best polyester and platform shoes, clutching tickets they waited months to receive. The Tonight Show theme swells through the speakers. Doc Severinsen's trumpet cuts through the air like liquid gold. America is tuning in. 12 million living rooms glowing blue with trust. Johnny Carson walks out in a perfect navy suit, his smile bright as a Kansas sunrise. The audience erupts. He does the golf swing. The eyebrow raise. The laugh that makes you feel like you're in on the joke. Welcome, welcome, Johnny says, leaning into the microphone. We've got a great show tonight. Really great. Ed McMahon laughs his trademark belly laugh from the couch. The band settles. Johnny shuffles his blue cards. That familiar rhythm America depends on joke, setup, punchline, applause. It's a dance he's done 10,000 times. But tonight, something feels different. Backstage, a production assistant whispers into his headset. The stage manager checks his watch twice in 30 seconds. And in the green room, sitting alone under flickering fluorescent lights, Shelley Winters stares at her reflection in a smudged mirror. Her hands shake as she lifts a glass. 5 minutes, Miss Winters. Someone calls through the door. She doesn't answer. When Johnny introduces her, a 2-time Academy Award winner, the incomparable Shelley Winters. The audience applauds wildly. The curtain parts and Shelley walks out into the blinding light. Her smile too wide, her steps just slightly off rhythm. Johnny stands to greet her. He takes her hand. It's cold and trembling. Shelley, so good to see you, he says, and his voice carries that warmth that made him America's therapist. Johnny, darling, she says, and the words slur together like melted wax. They sit. The audience settles. Ed shifts in his seat. Johnny glances at his producer in the wings just for a fraction of a second. The camera holds on Shell's face. Stage makeup caked over exhaustion. Eyes glassy and distant. She starts talking too loud, too fast. About Marlon Brando, about some premiere in 1956. About a dress she can't remember the color of. Johnny tries to guide her. So this was during No. Listen, Johnny. She laughs at nothing. The audience offers scattered, uncomfortable chuckles. Johnny leans forward. Are you feeling all right, Shelley? Of course, she stops mid-sentence. Her eyes lose focus. And then, without warning, her head tilts back. Her body goes slack against the couch cushions. The laughter dies instantly. Johnny's smile vanishes. The cameras keep rolling. What Johnny did next would change how America saw him forever. But what they didn't know was why Shelley Winters walked onto that stage that night in the first place. To understand that moment, you have to go back. Johnny Carson grew up in Norfolk, Nebraska, population 5,000, where his mother never hugged him and his father barely spoke. He learned early that if you made people laugh, they couldn't hurt you. He brought that Midwest armor to Hollywood and became the most powerful man on television. 30 million people a night invited him into their bedrooms. But Johnny kept everyone at arm's length. 3 failed marriages. Kids who barely knew him. A loneliness so deep he filled it with scotch and silence. Then there was Shelley, born Shirley Scrift in East St. Louis. She clawed her way out of poverty to become one of Hollywood's greatest actresses. 2 Oscars, roles that made grown men cry. She loved Big Burt Lancaster, Marlon Brando, Sean Connery, and lost bigger. By 1979, she was 59. In Hollywood years, ancient. The roles dried up. The phone stopped ringing. She'd sit in her Brentwood home and drink wine until the loneliness dulled to a manageable ache. The Tonight Show was her pulpit. Johnny always made her feel like she still mattered. I need this, she told her agent. I need people to remember. What she didn't say was that she'd spent the previous night staring at a bottle of pills, wondering if anyone would notice she was gone. The morning of the show, she started drinking at noon just to steady her nerves. By 5 p.m., the bottle was half empty. In her dressing room, she stared at the stranger in the mirror. You look beautiful, Miss Winters, the makeup artist said. Do I? She whispered. She poured another glass from the bottle in her purse. "I'm perfect," she said. But backstage, just 20 minutes before airtime, something happened that no one was prepared for, and Johnny had no idea he was about to face the most terrifying moment of his life on live television. The red light on camera 1 stays lit. Johnny Carson does what he always does. He tries to save it. "So, Shelley," he says, his voice steady as a tightrope walker. "You've got a new book coming out book." She blinks slowly. "Oh, the book about Hollywood. You know, Johnny, the problem with Hollywood is nobody tells the truth anymore." "Well, you've never had that problem." She laughs. "Too loud, too sharp." "Damn right. You know what Marlon told me once? He said, 'Shelley, you're the only honest woman in this town.' And I said, 'Marlon, you're full of Ed McMahon,' clears his throat." Johnny pivots. "Speaking of honesty, I heard you're working with some new directors." "Directors don't want me anymore, Johnny." Her voice cracks. The studio goes quiet. "They want girls. 20-year-olds who don't know Stanislavski from a hole in the ground." Johnny's smile stays fixed, but his eyes are urgent. Is calculating how to steer this, how to land it safely. "Well, that's their loss," he says gently. "You've forgotten more about acting than most people will ever." "I haven't forgotten anything." Shell's eyes fill with tears. "That's the problem. I remember everything. Every role, every man. Every time someone said I was too fat, too old, too much. The audience doesn't know where to look." Johnny leans in. "Shelley, you know what it's like, Johnny, to give everything to something that doesn't love you back." And for just a second, something passes between them. Recognition. Understanding. "Yeah," Johnny says quietly. "I do." Shelley reaches for her water glass and misses. It tips. Water spreads across the desk in a slow, inevitable flood. A stage hand rushes out with towels. "I'm sorry," Shelley says. "I'm so sorry. I'm ruining everything." "You're not ruining anything," Johnny says, but his hand is signaling to the booth. Commercial. Before they can cut, Shelley tries to stand. Her legs don't cooperate. "Shelley, just sit." "No, I should go. I should." She's halfway out of her chair when it happens. Her eyes roll back, her knees buckle, and Shelley Winters, 2-time Oscar winner, Hollywood legend, survivor of 1,000 battles, collapses like a building finally giving in to gravity. And then, in the middle of a sentence about Marlon Brando, Shell's eyes rolled back, and Johnny Carson had to make a split-second decision that could end both their careers. The sound Shell makes when she hits the floor isn't loud. It's soft, almost gentle, like a sigh, but the audience gasps as if the ceiling caved in. Johnny moves before he thinks. He's out of his chair, kneeling beside her. His hand cups the back of her head, protecting it from the hard studio floor. "Shelley, Shelley, can you hear me?" Her eyes flutter. Her lips move, but no sound comes. Ed McMahon is standing now, his comedy mask on. Doc Saintson sets down his trumpet. The audience freezes, watching Johnny Carson become something they've never seen before. "Human, get the medics," Johnny says. His voice doesn't crack. It's pure command. "Now cut to commercial," he orders. Cut now. 5 eternal seconds. 12 million Americans watch Johnny Carson, the man who never broke character, hold Shelley Winters in his arms like she's something precious and breakable. "Stay with me," he whispers. "Come on, Shelley." Her eyes open slightly. "Johnny, I'm here. Did I ruin the show?" "You didn't ruin anything." The medics arrive. They try to wave Johnny back, but he doesn't move. "I'm riding with her." The producer steps forward. "Johnny, we've got a show. Shut it down." Johnny stands still holding Shell's hand. "Clear the audience. We're done." No one argues. "Before we continue, where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments below." The ambulance doors close. The siren wails. America sits in stunned silence, staring at empty TV screens. At Cedars-Sinai, Johnny paces the waiting room. His producer shows up. His lawyer calls. His publicist wants a statement. Johnny ignores all of them. He sits in a plastic chair under fluorescent lights, elbows on his knees, And for the first time in decades, Johnny Carson, the most famous man in America, cries. Not for the show, not for the ratings. He cries for Shell, for what Hollywood did to her. He cries for himself. 3 hours later, a doctor appears. She's stable. She's asking for you. Johnny follows him to where Shelley lies connected to 4 lines. Her makeup is gone. She looks small. Mortal. Johnny. She whispers. He sits beside the bed. I'm so sorry. I ruined everything. No, Shelley. His voice breaks. We ruined you. All of us. Hollywood, television, this whole goddamn machine. We use people up and throw them away. Tears slip down her cheeks. Real ones, not performed. I was alone, Johnny. So alone. I thought if I could just be fabulous one more time, maybe I'd remember who I was. Johnny nods. He understands. I've been married 3 times. I have 3 sons and I'm lonelier than I've ever been. Every night I make 30 million people laugh, then go home to an empty house and wonder who the hell Johnny Carson even is. They sit in silence. 2 legends. 2 lonely people finally telling the truth. When Shelley woke up 3 hours later, the first thing she said to Johnny would haunt him for the rest of his life and change how he did his show forever. The morphine drip softens Shell's pain, but not her clarity. She looks at Johnny with eyes that have survived too much. Can I tell you something? She whispers. Last night, I sat in my house with a bottle of wine and a bottle of pills, and I thought about how easy it would be. Johnny's breath catches. I didn't do it. You know why? Because I had this show booked. I thought if I can just make Johnny laugh, just remind people that Shelley Winters is still here, then maybe I matter. Isn't that pathetic? That's not pathetic, he says. That's survival, is it? Or is it just another performance? Shelley laughs bitterly. People like us, broken people who learn to tap dance on our trauma and call it entertainment. Yeah, Johnny says. Exactly that. She squeezes his hand. You know what I felt when I collapsed? Relief. Like I could finally stop pretending. Johnny understands that feeling so deeply it hurts. After my first divorce, he says slowly, I went on stage and did 90 minutes. Best show of the year. And the whole time I was dying inside because if I stopped being funny, what was I? What are you, Johnny? He doesn't answer for a long time. I don't know. I've been Johnny Carson for so long, I can't remember who I was before the cameras. Me, too. Shelley closes her eyes. I was Shirley once from East St. Louis. Then I became Shell Winters. And Shirley disappeared. Now Shell's disappearing, too. And I'm terrified there's nothing underneath. There's something underneath, Johnny says fiercely. You're the woman who survived poverty, who fought when they said you were too ethnic, too curvy, too opinionated, who loved too hard, and kept showing up anyway. That's who you are. Is that who you are, too? I hope so, he whispers. God, I hope so. They sit in that hospital room, 2 warriors, and for the first time in years, neither is performing. Thank you, Shelley says. For staying, for seeing me, not Shelley Winters, the actress. Just me. Johnny nods, unable to speak. At 2 a.m., he walks to his car and falls apart. Not the camera-ready kind. The ugly gasping kind that comes from years of holding everything in. The king of comedy, completely undone. The next night, Johnny walked back onto the Tonight Show stage, and what he said made the entire country go silent. The following night, Johnny Carson walks onto stage 1 differently. No golf swing, no trademark grin. He stands at his desk in silence for 10 full seconds. The audience holds its breath. Good evening, he finally says, his voice quieter than usual. I'm not going to do the usual monologue tonight. Last night, something happened that I think is important to talk about. A guest of ours had a medical emergency. She's okay now. She's getting help. He pauses, collects himself. We're in the entertainment business. We make people laugh. But sometimes, we forget that the people making you laugh are human beings. We hurt. We struggle. We have bad days and dark nights. The studio is silent. 12 million people are watching. If you know someone who seems like they have it all together, who always makes you smile, who never shows weakness, check on them. Really check on them, because sometimes the people who seem the strongest are the ones who need help the most. His voice cracks. So if you're watching this and you're struggling with loneliness, with addiction, with feeling like you don't matter, please hear me. You matter. You're not alone. And it's okay to not be okay. The audience erupts in applause, not polite clapping, something deeper, cathartic. Johnny nods, wipes his eyes, and says, "Now, let's do a show." The letters arrive the next day. Thousands of them. People sharing their own battles. Their desperate need to be seen. Johnny quietly establishes a new protocol. Every guest gets checked on first. If someone's struggling, they offer help before entertainment. Shelley checks into rehab. Johnny pays for it anonymously. She sends him a letter. "You saved my life. Not by calling the ambulance, but by staying, by seeing me. Love always, Shell." Johnny keeps that letter in his desk drawer for the rest of his career. If this story is touching you, hit that like button. It helps us share these powerful human moments with more people. Years later, at Johnny's final show, a surprise guest would reveal what that night truly meant. May 22, 1992. Johnny Carson's final episode. Near the end, someone unscheduled walks through the curtain. Shelley Winters, 72 years old, sober for 13 years. The audience explodes. Johnny stands shocked. She walks straight to him and hugs him. Not a showbiz hug, a real one. "That night in 1979 when I fell apart on this stage was the night my life changed." She says you could have cut the cameras. Pretended it never happened. But you stayed. You saw me and you taught America that compassion is the only thing that actually matters. Johnny's eyes glisten. People tell me their own stories. Shelley continues. How watching someone care gave them permission to ask for help. That's your real legacy, Johnny. Not the comedy, the humanity. The reminder that behind every performance is a person who deserves to be seen. The audience rises in a 3-minute standing ovation. Johnny Carson died in 2005. Shelley Winters in 2006. But that night in 1979 taught us something fundamental. We are not our worst moments. We are the hands that reach out when someone falls. We are the voices that say, "I see you." That's the legacy, not laughter. Because the greatest shows remind us we're not alone in our pain. The Tonight Show continued after Johnny left. New jokes. New generations of performers chasing the spotlight, but Stage 1 at NBC Burbank still has a plaque installed near the desk. Visitors don't usually notice it. It's small, unassuming brass that needs polishing. It reads, "The best thing we can do for each other is stay." JC and SW October 23, 1979. And if you walk past it late at night when the studio is empty, when the cameras are dark and the audience seats hold only ghosts, you can almost feel it. The moment when entertainment became humanity, when two broken people stopped performing and started healing. That's the real show. That's what matters. So, tonight, check on someone. Really check on them. The friend who always says they're fine. The family member who never asks for help. The coworker who makes everyone laugh but leaves alone. Stay with them. See them. Remind them they're not their worst moment. Because 30 years from now, they might write you a letter. And it might say the same thing Shell wrote to Johnny. "You saved my life by caring enough to look." And that more than any punchline is how we change the world. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to remember what truly matters. Like this video if you believe compassion is the only currency that counts. Subscribe for more stories that remind us we're all just humans trying to figure it out together. And in the comments below, tell me who in your life needs to hear "I see you" today. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stay. And sometimes the most heroic thing you can do is let someone see you fall.